Hey there, it's John Ray with Project X, and the final most voted project on our list that I wanted to highlight was the BigBrainz project. I've already spoken with Dano, and he wants to go ahead and bridge his idea into sublayer and precog so that basically we can have collective brain power on that. But I really wanted to honor Dano or Daniel because he is the only person that really submitted a real pitch and put it in, dialed it out into an outline format, and really put a lot of strong thinking into what this could be. And so I'm going to go ahead and tag his video presentation here onto the tail end of my intro. But this is what a proposal pitch should look like. I would say that this is even better than the pitch that I gave for sublayer and precog, because he really spent a lot of time putting these slides together, mapping, giving you a visualization of what it could look like. Like, he really sold the vision. And what he's doing with BigBrainz is closely aligned. Like, we can borrow a lot from his presentation in what I want to do for sublayer and precog. And we've had tons of great ideas from the community on what that could be. So I want to make sure that everybody sees his video, goes through his documents, which are in the description. And then as we start to think about these projects, there's a lot of these projects that we can borrow ideas from and kind of create a Frankenstein that we can all be happy about, and we can put that out to market. So of the top voted projects right now, I think, NOS nodes, precog, sublayer, and BigBrainz all have ideas that have a lot of crossover. And so I'd love to see some conversation about mixing and matching those. Not to say that these other ideas are bad. They're actually great ideas. I'm just trying to consider scope and the actual implementation and detail of those. And so if you want one of these other projects to be the project, I'm going to need some help from the community mapping it out in the same way that Dano has done with BigBrainz, how I've done with sublayer precog. You can't just submit an idea and then expect that the core team is going to flesh it all out. We need the community to help build out these details so that we can really have a roadmap for the project that we want. And as proposal submissions end on the 30th of this month, which is basically midnight or 11:59 on Saturday, we'll be moving into fine-tuning these proposals. So pitching a high-level idea is totally fine. Like, that was the name of this game. However, starting next week, we want to make sure that we're culling all of the proposals that don't have a net positive score on them, and really starting to build out some detail and framework and roadmap for each of these projects, so that when it goes to vote, we have a clear picture of what we're actually voting for and what the project would actually be. So without further ado, here's Dano's pitch, which I really appreciated because it was very well done. And he's graciously decided that he will take some of his brain power and direct it towards whatever the winning proposal is. And that could be any of these. So let me know where you're at on that, how you think we should fine tune some of these ideas, which of these ideas you're leaning towards right now. And let's start to really collectively figure out what the right mix and match of all of these ideas and all of the good input that we've had from the hive mind. Let's figure out how we direct all of that energy now.
What's up, fam? This is Dano here, and I've got a great proposal for the team for what's going to happen with the smarter coin ecosystem, including Project X. I present to you BigBrainz. All right. So let's dive into what this project is all about. Basically, what we're doing here is we're copying the chicken ecosystem. The chicken ecosystem, as you know, was recently launched on Avalanche, became very successful. It's number one NFT sales by volume. The floor price actually to mint them was costing 1 AVAX. Currently, the floor price is 25 AVAX, and the ecosystem has gained a lot of traction. So basically what we're doing is we're looking to copy the chicken ecosystem for our smarter BigBrainz Project X tri-token ecosystem, and I'm going to tie it all together. You still with me? Here we go. So what are BigBrainz? Basically, these are NFTs. We're going to be producing 10,000 of them. They're all slightly different, and they're designed with the smarter ecosystem in mind. So as you can see here, the design is of a brain. They all have their unique traits, which can come into play later on. For example, our PvP, player versus player. Have you ever heard of quiz bowls? This might be something that we're doing. We've also got play to earn. Okay, what could this be? Battle of the books. And I can explain how that might tie in a little bit later as well. So with these NFTs, it's similar to the chicken ecosystem, where you can stake this brain, as I call it, experiment with the brain. And this allows you to earn a passive income. So it's gamifying DeFi without the person actually knowing that they're interacting with DeFi. When staked, they earn Project X coin. That's right, X. So as I mentioned, we mint these brains at a cost of 1 AVAX. This is the same as the chicken NFTs were originally minted at. And then doing that, if we mint 10,000 of these and we sell them for 1 AVAX each at a price of $100 in AVAX, that's $1 million that we've just raised through minting these NFTs to actually build out the project, hire the devs, hire the art team, do a little bit of marketing, and actually develop the whole Project X as well. We've got $1 million to work with here just by minting a project that's not even ready yet. And we don't actually have to reveal this until a later date, okay? So how does this benefit the smarter community? Well, these are only available to be minted by those people that have been playing the smarter game and still hold smarter or the smarter AVAX JLP as of the most recent snapshot, okay? Now, this is going to be the first functional use case for the NFT. All right, so initially, everybody that's participating in this ecosystem is allowed to mint one BigBrainz NFT. However, the higher your diamond hand rate is, your tier level, you have a shorter cooldown period. So that's variable. If you're just minting these at a retail rate, you participated in the smarter ecosystem, you still hold smarter in your wallet, you can mint that first initial one, then you have a longer cooldown period before you're allowed to mint a second one. So this NFT actually has a true value to our community members. Remember how I said those chicken NFTs were minted for 1 AVAX? Now the floor price is 25. A lot of speculation is saying that they could even go to 100 AVAX per NFT. So this brings a lot of value to our community where they get access to this new NFT, this DeFi gamified NFT project, only available to the smarter community. Let me introduce next Project X. Okay, so this X token, this is actually the governance token for the Project X DAO, the Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Now, how can we earn X? Well, this is similar to the egg in the chicken ecosystem. We stake our brains to earn X tokens. What we do with those X tokens is up to us. We can sell those on the open market, for example, on Trader Joe, or we can stake these X tokens to earn smarter tokens. What's that? Smarter? Yes, that's right. It's still alive and it's returned from the dead. I'll explain that in just a little bit more in a second. Okay, so as we know, the egg token is inflationary. Chickens always lay egg. Well, brains, by experimenting with your brain, you always earn X. However, there's going to be a lot of mechanisms in the future that allow for this supply to become deflationary over time. As I had mentioned, the quiz bowls, this player versus player games. The Battle of the Books, this is play to earn. Minting version 2 NFTs. As you guys may know, the chicken ecosystem is going to release roosters. We're going to release Mad Scientist. That's right. So anybody that's owning a chicken NFT, a BigBrainz NFT is going to have an opportunity to mint Mad Scientist, which is then going to burn token X in order to mint those. In addition to that, in the chicken ecosystem, you have a button to press to basically skip the cooldown period of leveling up your brain. we can burn token X by catalyzing our experiment in many other ways as well, including a lot of third-party integrations. So how does this benefit the Smarter community? Well, we're going to airdrop token X tokens to all those people that minted BigBrainz. Remember, BigBrainz were only available to our community. And now the X token is only available to our community as well. So this is bringing the whole Smarter community, which is almost 10,000 people strong, over to Project X. And we all have governing rights in this project. Now, this is the most important part of the project. We're actually doing something special. We're solving a real world problem. Okay, so a portion of this X treasury is going to be allocated towards solving real world problems. Okay, so the Smarter community, the Jade community, we're very passionate about two things. One, giving back to the community, as we've seen Jade Aid giving $100,000 to someone in need. Okay, so we know that that's a need, that's a passion of our community. And second, education. Okay, this whole Smarter project was designed and taught to teach people about how to invest. Well, with this Project X, a portion of that treasury is already predestined to be given back to the community in charitable efforts that raise money to give equitable access to educational resources to the underprivileged people. Think about building a school for kids in Africa. That would be a great promotional opportunity. Think about doing book drives where we're raising money to buy books for underprivileged. Think about putting on a workshop or seminar in the inner city for people that maybe don't have a lot of investment resources or experience. Okay, we can fund these types of events, and all of that's being funded through an allocation of our DAO. Okay, so don't forget this DAO. Our community is actually voting on what these funds get to go towards. Okay, so it's predestined towards this community charitable effort, but the community actually gets to vote where that money is spent, who it's spent on, and when it's spent. Okay, so Smarter, we all know what Smarter is because we've been playing the game. But in this tri-token economic system, it's bringing real utility to the BigBrainz ecosystem. Okay, so we can earn Smarter from staking our X. This is basically like the feed comparable to the chicken ecosystem. What we do with our Smarter, it's up to us. Okay, we can sell it on the open market, or if we really want to be smart about this, we would feed it to our brains to level up our brains, because the bigger our brains are, the more X they produce. The more X we stake, the more smarter we get. We create this positive feedback loop. Now, when we feed this to our BigBrainz, that's another, it's burned from the supply forever. So again, Smarter has a very fixed supply, limited supply, and that's deflationary over time. It's only being burned, never created or minted into supply. So how does this benefit the Smarter community? Well, a lot of us, we already have loose Smarter in our wallets. We never sold that Smarter. If we played the game and we actually didn't add a lot of fresh AVAX towards the end of the game, then we will have massive amounts of Smarter in our wallets. Okay, the Smarter community can then use these Smarter tokens, burn them forever, to level up our brains. Okay, so this has a really clear positive impact on our community. In addition to that, we're eliminating all that Smarter from the supply. So this is actually putting a positive price pressure on the token. As you guys know, the price went from 6 cents down to 6 millionths of a cent. Okay, we're going to start putting some more positive pressure on that Smarter token price. And it brings life back to this project. We were all in love with Smarter. Okay, we loved it and adored it. And now we're bringing Frankenstein back from the dead. That's right. I'm excited about that. So where does this Smarter tokens come from? Well, as we know, according to the token contract, there was an initial supply of 100 trillion Smarter tokens. Now, once the emission stopped, 72 trillion of those tokens were burned forever. Team, we need proof of this. We need to actually make sure with 100% certainty that all these tokens were actually burned from the supply. Okay, this is super crucial. It's super important. Okay. So that means that we have 18 trillion tokens that are in the circulating supply. Okay, of those, the smarter treasury has about 3.7 trillion of them, 20% of the supply. Current market value, $2 million. Jade, you wanted to fund startups, you wanted to be FL off? This is your first project. You're funding this tri-token ecosystem by giving us that smarter. That's $2 million in value that you're giving to Project X to fund this project. Okay, so that is basically that's going into our treasury. In addition to that, the smarter team, you guys put this project together in the first place. You still own 3.7%. Sorry, 3.7 trillion smarter tokens, 20% of the supply according to Snowtrace. Congratulations, you get to keep those. Okay, what you do with them, that's up to you. Okay, in addition to that, the remaining smarter. I would also like to mention that there's 1.8 trillion% that belong to the smarter investor address. I'm not really sure what this is. Okay, we need to figure this out. So of that 18 trillion that's in circulating supply, that means we have 9 trillion left. Of that, they're either in loose smarter that belong in that are in our wallets currently, or they're paired in liquidity pools. So a lot of us own JLP tokens. That's the smarter AVAX pair. Jade Protocol, you're about to take all those tokens and swap. Okay, so we're all swapping all those tokens to receive Jade. What I'm proposing here, you guys keep all the AVAX. You've got all this AVAX that you've raised from the community. The smarter tokens, that then goes to fund the drip from staking the X. So X is staked, it's dripping smarter from this new allocation that we've just got from all the unpaired smarter AVAX. Okay, so that's basically giving us the smarter treasury, and the smarter tokens from the bonded pairs is all the smarter that we're going to use to fund this ecosystem. Okay, now got one more for you guys. This is a big one. This project, this tri-token economic system, it's giving equitable access to education. That's what we're raising money for in one system. Now I've identified here food, water, shelter, healthcare, education, economy, justice. These are all systems that we could tap into. These are all areas where the world needs help. Smarter, Jade, X, it's time for us to step up to the plate and provide equitable access to all of these resources to all the people in the world. The amount of systems that we can create to actually solve these real world problems is limitless. In addition to that, I've identified several key areas that we need to invest in to move the world forward. Sustainable energy, artificial intelligence, development of the internet and Web3, furthering a global democracy where countries are working with each other instead of against each other, doing genetic research, CRISPR, space travel, making humanity a multiplanetary species. We need to fund research in these areas. So if we create all of these ecosystems and we're actually solving all these real world problems, not only are we going to change the world, but we're going to create a lot of wealth for ourselves in the process and for the smarter Jade community. Dano out. See you guys soon.